In every recipe, there's a story, a thread of tradition woven into something new.
Today, we're exploring where those threads meet rhythm and flavor. One lyric, one layer, one bite at a time.
Welcome back to another episode of Sound Bites.
I'm Demi,
And I'm Sedona.
and today we're joined with a very special guest, a local singer-songwriter.
Shaela Miller.
Thanks for joining us, Shaela.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're so excited. We love seeing you perform in the community, and it's an honor to have you here baking with us today. Can you tell us what we're about to make?
We're going to make my grandma's recipe for baklava. She taught me this recipe. I used to go to her house and make it with her. And it takes a while to do, but it's a labor of love that's worth every moment spent.
Where does it originate from?
Well, Greece, I think. A lot of different Mediterranean countries are making it, but my grandma lived in Iran for many years, and so did my mom. And ever since I was born, we've celebrated Nowruz, which is the New Year's party celebration for all kinds of Mediterranean countries, and we make it every year.
So what do we need to make this recipe happen?
First of all, some sort of baking dish. I usually use a bigger dish, but we're going to use a smaller dish today, make it a bit smaller than usual. We need a pastry brusher, some measuring utensils, scissors to cut our phyllo pastry, a bowl. We're going to use a food processor. We've got to heat up some butter. We've clarified it, but it's kind of cooled down a bit, so we need to heat it up so it's nice and liquidy for when we are spreading it, because the phyllo pastry is really tedious and can ripple, and we want it to be as smooth and laid out as possible. We've got 2 cups of walnuts. We might not use this exact ratio because we are using a smaller dish, but this is like my grandma's recipe, so we'll just go by what's here, and if we have extra, then we do. So 2 cups of walnuts, some cardamom. We've got brown sugar, 2 tablespoons, pumpkin spice. Just it has everything in it. It's easier that way. Honey, I didn't say all the exact amounts because I don't even know if we're going to use these exact amounts. And then my grandma always used the corn syrup China Lily. And that's pretty much it. And our phyllo pastry, which we usually use 2 boxes if we're doing big, but we're probably only going to need these one. We have to cut it to the right size. We're going to cut it in half because we don't really want it to go up the sides.
Yeah.
So we'll use these scissors. This stuff actually does not feel like it's too stuck together, which is awesome. And then I would just cut. I'm just going to cut there. Because if it's slightly too small, it's almost better than if it climbs up the side, because it just doesn't look as nice in those corner pieces. Where are we here? Right there. Like my measuring?
Yeah.
Very relaxed over here in the kitchen. Sound bites, right, ladies?
Yeah.
Heck yes. I always keep this stuff because you can make like spanakopita or other kinds of things, and it freezes really well even after it's already been frozen. So if you don't want to waste things, why would you? You could save it and enjoy again.
I'm gonna melt this butter here. Just in the pan, so we have a nice clarified stick of butter, which you'll need to do ahead of time for this recipe. I'm just gonna get that nice and melty on a low heat.
Nice. That part's done. So we could also work on the blitzing together the nuts and spices in the food processor right now while we melt that. The sugar that is in this recipe is really like, you don't really need it for the sweetness. It's not for the sweetness. It's for kind of making it so when you blitz up nuts in a food processor, if you are careful, they will turn into a butter, right? So we don't want that. We just want, you can buy like whole walnuts, or you can buy pieces of walnuts that are usually cheaper. But even if they're pieces, you want them to be kind of fairly consistent because you don't want too many lumps in your baklava. So this is kind of a small one. I got a big donkey at home, so I think we could probably I think I think we could probably fit this whole thing in, but should we just do it? Why not?
Not.
It fits. Let's get those crumbs in there too. Why wouldn't we? Do that. Bit of shugs. Pack it in. Start making a mess. I'm a home cook, people. Okay, here we go. I think I want to blitz this before I add these. I'm a bit scared, okay? So just like that, you want to pulse it because you don't want it to turn into butter. I just wanted to get it a little further down before I added all of this so it doesn't poof everywhere. Let's see. The trick, I keep these closed because it gets messy, and then you're going to want to brush, of course. And then making sure we only have one here, which I think we do. And smooth. Brush butter between each one. And it has to be very wet. No dry allowed. And if there is like the odd little ripple, it's no big deal, but we tried to have as few as possible. And so this, my grandma's way method is 7 layers of phyllo to take this spoon and with this mixture that we put together with the nuts, just a thin layer to evenly cover everything. So see how that's bubbling up right there? I just take this to smooth it, you know? So if you get those bubbles, you can usually use your pastry brush to smooth them out. And, you know, if there's a little thing, you can... It's really just tedious. That's why my grandma would have me come help her. It would be like, Shaela, you want to come over and help Grandma? I'd be like, yes, Grandma. Any day of the week. I used to not go for sleepovers with friends, just at my grandma's. Because she was the best. So anyway, I'll put one more on here, and then do you guys... So this is our third one. Obviously, it's not a big deal if you forget and add 8 or 6 instead of 7, but we try.
7 flat layers of just the butter and the phyllo.
Correct.
And then we add the walnuts.
Then we add the walnuts and the delicious spices. Thin layer, and then that first phyllo layer after we've added the nuts is where it can be kind of tricky. But here, this one's 3. I'll just finish that one. And do you want to try Sedona? Do you want to try first?
Yeah, I'll try first.
There we go.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Shaela.
No problemo.
1 thin layer.
Mm-hmm. And it is kind of climbing up the sides, but that's okay. The corners, my grandma would always say, we eat the corners and we serve the perfect diamonds. Corners of the end. Extra crispy too.
Yeah, those are the best parts.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like a lasagna.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. True.
How much butter is too much butter?
Never too much. Is this salted butter too?
No, it's unsalted.
Oh yeah. I usually do salted butter because it adds just like a bit of a punch.
How are my bubbles?
They're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's a pretty big bubble. Smush that one down. See? Nice.
And why are we using clarified butter?
Because of the way in the butter, it makes it watery. So you want it to be not kind of mushy. It makes the baklava just be more crisp and flavorful. So the way that my grandma taught me to do it is just melt your butter at night in a pot, put it in a bowl, put it in the fridge, stick a chopstick in it, dump the whey out.
Oh.
That's how I always did it. Yeah.
That's simple.
Yeah.
We did the whole cheesecloth.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So if you just melt it, because any of that liquid that comes out, that's the wasteful whey. We don't want it. That's what she said, the wasteful whey. Yeah, it usually takes me like almost 2 whole records listening to before I'm done making baklava. And before I've even done prepping it. I mean, before I put it in the oven, yeah.
Count your time and
Yeah,
number of records.
for sure. Yeah.
I do that too, but with music, like with songs, individual songs.
Right. Oh, I do that too, yeah.
Like the shower is
Like if
gonna
I'm getting
be
ready.
4 songs.
Yeah, it's like if I'm not done my makeup by the end of this song, I'm going to be late.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
hurry up.
Exactly.
So we have 7 layers of phyllo.
Mm-hmm.
Each layer has a nice thick layer of butter between. It's all layered down.
Mm-hmm.
And now we add walnuts.
You betcha.
Yeah?
Yeah, do you want to do it? I'll show you my way. I'll
Okay.
show you my way, okay? My grandma's way.
Yeah.
Grandma. So with this, this is literally what I do. I just take the spoon and like this, you know, just a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And you want to try and just be gentle because you can't, because the phyllo is so, you can barely kind of move it around, you know, without trying. You don't want to make holes if possible, stuff like that. So just cover as much of this space as we can. We just need to combine the, what's this called again?
Corn syrup.
Yep, corn syrup. High fructose, lactose, checkose.
Lactose.
I'm just kidding. Check. Honey just makes everything better. Honey makes everything sweeter than honey. And we're going to put in we just need to combine these really. We want it to come to a boil and then shut it off. So once that just comes to a boil, we'll turn it down, pull that out, and then we're going to drizzle. And we're going to watch the sizzle. We're going to drizzle and sizzle. Drizzle and sizzle. Oh, I think it's good. It can be darker on top. It doesn't need to be. It looks fully cooked. It looks wonderful. Okay, I'm going to start up here. It kind of does, it's like the finishing, almost cook, you know, it's like, it's also kind of cooking it in a weird way because it's such hot, like, it's like molten lava.
When a passion for artistry is met with collaboration, a recipe for mentorship can become a shared rhythm.
The creative spaces in our community are places where friendship is meant to be nurtured.
What better way to enjoy some baklava with some friends? So we've invited Shaela and our friend Kai to come hang out with us. They're both local musicians, and so we both really look up to you guys in the community, and thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So I wanted to know a little bit more about both of your backgrounds in music. How did you get started in music?
I grew up surrounded with music, just my parents love music, and my dad played guitar. And he did like stage stuff like sound and lights at times in his life. And I think always dreamed about being a musician more than just a stage person, but just, you know, never did. Taught me how to play guitar when I was pretty young. And I started writing when I was 15, started performing when I was 16. Very passionate about writing.
Honestly, my music kind of started because my siblings all had their sports that they did, and I didn't want to do that. And everyone wanted me to do sports, and I said, no, I'm going to do something else. So they put me in like drumming lessons. That's the first music I ever did was drumming. And then through like the organization I did those lessons with, I kind of met so many people. I was probably like 7. And I met an amazing music teacher, voice teacher, who I still do lessons with today. And she's been one of the biggest influences in my life. Shout out Moanza. But yeah, I started writing music when I was probably like 12 or 13. For real. I always wrote little things that I never really cared about that much, but you know, care more because you're a kid. I started writing for real when I was growing up, and it's been a very near and dear thing to my heart since.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you meet Shaela, or how did this come?
My mom, probably, I think it was, sent me the advertisement for the Lethbridge Girls Rock Camp, songwriting, Shaela Miller songwriting camp.
Lethbridge Youth Songwriting Camp.
Yes. The big jumble of words, that's right.
Yes.
And that was 3
I think, yeah, you were 14, I think. Yeah.
And then, you know, kind of went ever since.
Yeah, she's come every year, and it's been amazing. And we're currently working on her album. I'm producing and helping with her album.
And how has your career kind of begun to shape with mentoring youth, and what does that mean to you? Can you explain about the program a little bit?
Well, when I first started playing, like I said, I was playing shows and stuff when I was 16. I joined a band before I was even 18, playing in bars, and no one ever ID'd me. Lethbridge, haha. Anyway, and I had a bunch of mentors too, like how she's talking about with Monza and with me, probably.
Absolutely.
And I feel like it's really important that if you are passionate about what you do and you have something that you can offer and give to people, and if you're not doing it, like it's making me cry and I don't even know why. I think it's really important to give back in that way. And I had so many mentors and people that are still in my life and supporting me still to this day, that I think if it wasn't for them pushing me through like certain hard periods in my life where, you know, I might have just like been like, oh, screw this or that or whatever. But I just had everyone just pushing me and helping me realize that like we all go through those moments of self-doubt and stuff, and it's hard to shake those feelings sometimes, and you might just be like, oh, this is kind of a hard life actually, you know, and you have to grow your confidence and self-esteem so much and not like compare yourself to others, and not, there's just such a huge spectrum of like, you have to rise above those things or else you're never gonna like actually serve yourself or anybody else with your songs if you're just like too worried about what other people are gonna think. So I think being a mentor and having people mentor me helped me through that, and it's like really important to me to help share that, especially with how much, especially in our youth, songwriting, and still for me to this day, like my songs are like very therapeutic moments in my life where I might not sit down and know what I'm going to write about, but very soon after I'm like needed to get that out of me. It's like that, you know, burning fireball that you have inside you that you don't really realize there, and it's just like this weight off. And to see, especially year after year of this song camp, hearing the songs, like Kai can attest to that too, like Kai's songs are amazing. All the songs, even the kids that it's their first year and they've just written one song, it's like the topics that they're writing about and the safe space that we provide for them to really just sing what you feel, don't worry about what anyone else thinks. It's so touching that like last year I had to take like 3 days off work. I'm like, I'm a little bit like, have to just process that, because these people are just, we're just in this like, I don't know, we're just all in it together, processing our emotions. And maybe they'll never write a song again, but writing that one song like helped them, you know, you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the biggest barrier for you in songwriting? And how do you overcome that?
I think for me, I'll just answer for something that there's like 2 things maybe for me. One major thing is just procrastinating, sitting down and doing it, because it is such like a big emotional thing for me. It's really hard to just sometimes do it. So I have this song club where we all have to submit one song a month, like no matter what. Flex the creative muscle, even if you're not in the mood. And it's just forces, like I've written like stupid little jingles sometimes just so I don't get fined, because there's $100 fine if you don't submit a song. Yeah, it's pretty fun. So that's a thing that like forces me out of that procrastination zone. And then, yeah, like my last few albums, like if I didn't have that song club, I don't know, like I can get a little bit too much stuck in the rut of not sitting down to do it. But that's one. And then also just what I said before about overthinking things, and what, if you're a writer like I am, like I sing from my heart. There's lots of songwriters writing more silly or more comedic or more, I don't know, just things that maybe you're not as, but when you're writing like really like honest heart pain, whatever songs, I think there's a chapter of every songwriter's life where you're like, I don't want so and so to hear this, or I don't want them to think it's about them and it isn't, or I don't want people are going to think I'm so sad, or people think I'm pathetic, or think whatever, right? Like on and on and on. And that's one of the things I always talk about in the song camp. It's like, no, you can't worry about what anyone else is thinking. And I think it just takes a lot of time doing it, and maturity, and like confidence to get over realizing that it doesn't matter. Like, and your song's probably not going to be good if you're worried too much about what other people are going to think. It's not going to be honest. It's not going to be heart-wrenching. It's not going to make people cry. It's not, because you're too worried and you're just masking too much, and you're, yeah, not using like the really honest, painful things to make people feel things. And if someone doesn't like that kind of music, then they don't have to listen to it. And that's kind of the end of the day. You don't need everyone to like your music. And no one's going to like your music if you're not writing from the heart. So
One of the biggest things for me lately has been like authenticity, which Shaela kind of already touched on a little bit. But writing for me, as soon as it gets like I have to do it, it's not good for me. It's like I don't like it. And as soon as it's not fully from a want, it's like not right for me.
like if there's like a deadline coming
Yeah.
up, yeah.
It needs, that's a good thing and a terrible thing for me, because if I don't have a deadline, I don't do things.
And it's funny you said that, because I can be, if I'm like, I need 2 more songs for this album, sometimes I can just be like, wow. But then I'll be like, I've booked like a cabin before to just like go on a writing retreat, and it's like, well, that was a good 4 days of sitting in the bath and staring at the wall. It's like, didn't write a thing.
Yeah.
Too much pressure sometimes is good and sometimes bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that authenticity thing too is interesting you say that, because so many people are trying to say to other people like, oh, you sound so much like this person, or you sound so much like that person, and you're like, no, I don't. But it's interesting that you say that. But I think that's part of the thing where you become self-assured, where you're like, that's just somebody trying to make an association for their own brain that isn't actually meant to be an insult, but it can, in your own head as a writer, you're like, am I doing something? Did I do that? And to find that, especially because you're still such a young songwriter, even though you're amazing, it's probably those cycles are still in your head where you're like, I don't want someone to think I'm trying to do this or that. I'm just me.
The most, like with lyrics especially, I like really try to stray away from like it's relatable to everybody and everyone's gonna find something in it, because doesn't have to be like that.
No.
And I think for me, when I listen to music, like the lyrics and songs I resonate most towards are not the ones that are super relatable. It's the ones that are like weirdly specific. That's just really good and descriptive and like has nothing to do with me. I just love it. So
that's good.
Tap into that. Yeah.
And on that note too, and which I talk about in the camp a lot, it's like you can write a song that's really personal about something that is very specific and make it vague. And, you know, you can do that. And some people are like, such a beautiful song about breakup. I'm like, oh, I wrote that song about my friend that died, actually. You know what I mean? That song helped me through like this breakup, you know? And I might not say back, I'm like, oh, that's so good. I'm glad to hear that. And I'm thinking like, yeah, I wrote that about my friend that died, in my head, right? Where they just think about it as like a breakup song. you know? And it's like, if that helped them, it doesn't matter to me what they think it's about. And so you can write vague enough sometimes if you want. But on the flip side, I think it's cool to do the opposite and be really direct.
I notice when I'm like listening to albums too, like songs that I listened to years ago take on a whole new meaning later in life as you grow with it. So it can just kind of resonate with a different point of time as well.
And I find that as the writer too. Sometimes I write the song about something and then I sing it later, 5 or 6 or more years later, and I'm going through something else and it's like, wow, this totally pertains to my situation right now. We're gonna cut this. I was saying that we normally would wait till it cools down a little bit more, but we just can't do that. We want to eat it now. The syrup gets thicker and everything, and it's gooey and delicious. And right now it's hot and it's going to also still be incredible, but I think I am just going to be able to serve it. Like, you're going to want to go through with your knife and go through each line that we cut before. But once it totally solidifies, you're really going to have to get in there, like... Is it too hot?
I just can't cut it.
No.
We can't cut it because it
smells
too
like...
glorious.
Yeah, it does smell like apple pie. It smells very apple-y.
Don't burn your mouth. I almost said. Better colder, but really good. Right?
Yeah, it's delicious.
I love the walnut.
And all the spices too. I don't think I've ever had baklava with this many spices in it.
So good. Grandma's way, you know? Colleen Naqshbandi. What a woman. Slayer of my heart.
Now ours too. Wow.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
That's really good.
When we take the time to listen to each other, we create something that nourishes far beyond the plate.
Here's to the future, to voices still finding their rhythm, to shared kitchens and shared stages, and to the sweet harmony of creativity, culture, and community.
Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep sharing your sound.